Look, I'm going to be straightforward with you guys. Lower back injury is one of the worst experiences you can go through, especially as a lifter. It's one of those injuries that take a long time to heal. And just when you think, okay, I'm good, no more pain, I'm ready, let's go back deadlift. And then boom, you feel it again. It's like an electric shock down your spine. I'm going to lay down the steps that I use to fully recover from this. This video will save you a lot of time and energy. You could spend years trying so many different protocols, visiting different physiotherapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists, whatever you want, all of which might not work for a situation or might even make it worse, which is exactly what I went through. You need to understand that your susceptibility to injuries is down to genetics. Some people are more resilient than others. For example, I was born without a disc in L5-S1. I have a sacralized bone instead. So this was always going to predispose me to higher risk of disc herniations, especially with my lifting routine. The first thing you need to do is get yourself a diagnosis, preferably an MRI, but also go to a specialist and see what symptoms actually trigger your pain. In my case, I suffered from 2 disc herniations at L3, L4, and L4, L5. I pinpointed down to one incident, which is during a heavy deadlift in 2015, but I think it was the accumulation of loading over time. I had no sciatica or any pain running down my legs, but I had localized pain in my lower back. It felt like lightning bolts, mostly triggered by spine flexion. So just keep this in mind because your situation might be different. Not all back pain is the same. So here's the quick steps that I used to fully recover. And by full recovery, I mean that I have no pain in normal life and I have no pain during lifting, even during the standard lifts. I've actually taken another MRI many years after my injury and it showed the disc going back into its place. A lot of people were telling me this is very rare for it to happen, but I believe with proper rehab, you can actually make it happen. So number 1, stop lifting. If the injury is still fresh or you're feeling a lot of symptoms, then stop lifting altogether, at least for the first 2 weeks. Give it time to rest. You might have to stop any movement that requires core stability or any loading on the spine. Number 2, start walking. Aim for 10,000 steps a day. You need to keep moving. Don't just lie down in bed and wait for the injury to go away. It's not going to happen. You need to keep moving in order to start healing. Number 3, and this was the main game changer for me, introduce the Mcgill Big3. Search those movements online or even watch my videos on my channel. I have a few about executing the Mcgill Big3. And this is the tricky part because most people fail to implement them correctly. I couldn't do them properly when I started. I thought they were completely useless and stopped doing them after maybe a few months of trying. Then I went on and tried so many different things, different protocol, none of which worked, maybe made my back even worse before I got back to the Mcgill Big3 again. This time I took my time. I read Biomechanics by Professor Mcgill. I watched a lot of his interviews. I watched a lot of content online about proper execution of these movements. And I started implementing them very diligently. And it's only then when I started seeing drastic results in my recovery. When I show this to clients, they're surprised by how difficult these movements are when properly done. For example, let's say you're doing a bird dog. It's not just a stretch. You're not just trying to reach your arm and your leg as far apart as possible. You're not just going through a motion of stretching. It's all about bracing your core. So master those movements before implementing them. Ask somebody else who has the experience to show you and to analyze your form and see if you're doing it right. Because a lot of time, you're not doing it the proper way. Number 4, slowly reintroduce loading, but also understand your limitations. This ties into number 5, which is understanding your biomechanics. If you're someone like me with longer limbs, you might want to avoid movements like a standard barbell squats, which puts a lot of loading on your spine. You need to start shifting away from those traditional movements, even like a standard deadlift, and find alternatives that are easier on your spine, that don't load your spine the same way. You have to take into consideration the way you are built. Insisting with those movements can put a lot of undue pressure on your lower back. And if you're just not built this way, bro, if you're just not built to squat, if you're not built to do a certain movement, it's fine, let it go. There's so many alternatives nowadays. There's so many amazing ways you can achieve the same results or even better. So don't be stuck in your approach unless you're part of a sports like powerlifting or something that requires you to do certain movements. But even then, you will need to do certain adjustments. It took me a long time. It took me many years because I kept trying different things and there's just so much information out there that you don't know which way to go. But when I implemented these things consistently, results started coming in pretty quick. I would say from within 3 to 6 months, I stopped getting any sharp back pain. And then slowly over the years, as I adjusted my lifting, I don't suffer from back pain anymore. Don't hyperfixate on your injuries. You'll experience some setbacks, but they'll be less and less severe until they completely go away. Just be patient and understand that you can improve and you can make a full recovery. Anyway, guys, I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, any comments, please leave them below or reach out to me and I can help you as much as I can.